Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's do the Southwest. The Southwest Division. We'll start with the Houston Rockets. They were the second seed last year, 52-30. They extended Adams, Holiday, Green, Smith, Tate, Fred VanVleet. They added Capella, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Durant, and they lost Brooks, Green, and Whitmore. What are we doing here with them?
So, I mean, I'm buying, but
Yes.
on a technicality, I don't know if I would pick them to be the 2 seed because I do think Denver might be better. So in theory, they could be a 3 seed,
Right.
but I would buy into the Rockets. I mean, they got pretty much all you could ask for. They probably have too many players, as we've discussed before, but I would buy on this short term and even long term because they didn't give up so much that
Yeah.
if you needed to have the ability to get a superstar that becomes available, they got the contracts and assets to still do it. So this is a total buy for me.
Yeah, 100% buy, stock up, whatever you want to say. I think like with they have enough assets that if Booker becomes available, it's possible that Booker ends up in the team. Like they have that, or Giannis, not that you want to hear that, but if Giannis becomes available, they still have a ton of assets to add someone like that. Even if they don't, though, their roster is just completely loaded. So I loved what they did this offseason, and I am, stock up, buying stock all the way on the Rockets. But I do agree with you on the technicality. I think it's the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Rockets. I think that's going to be like when we do our preview next year, that'll be like my 3 tier. I'm gonna have like a top contenders and contenders list for the West, and they're gonna be like 3 of the top contenders. But anyway, I'm with you on that. Grizzlies, 8th seed last year, 48-34. They drafted Cedric Coward. They extended Aldama and Jaren Jackson Jr. They added Cole Anthony, KCP, and Ty Jerome, and they lost Bain and Kennard. How are we feeling about the Grizzlies?
I'm going to say, again, it's because they're an 8 seed. So this makes it, I'm going to say a slight down with Jaren Jackson Jr. might being out for 3 months
That's true.
with the toe. So it might take, a month or so into the season for him to kind of ramp up. And without Bain, I know you replace him with KCP, but it's not like an equivalent across the board as far as, scoring ability. I would just say slight down as of right now, just a little worried that if it doesn't go perfect, people don't stay healthy, and John Morant doesn't play a vast majority of games in the West, I think you've lost a little ground.
Yeah, because I feel like they've always had kind of depth, right? So it was never like you can't be like try to be positive about it and be like, well, they drafted a young guy and they added 4 guys and they only lost 2. It's like, well, if depth wasn't the issue, then that's not like fixing your problem that you had last year. So I'm probably you probably talked me into it a little bit. I might go slight down as well. I put hold because I think I'm kind of curious where they're heading. I still think they could be in that 8th seed range next year. The rookie they drafted, he'll probably won't be ready for like 2 years to be a real contributor, but it's sort of fascinating. I do like the idea of KCP being more of a defender, but you lose, like you said, that shot creating that Bain offers, and he actually was kind of a playmaker. Like he did get the ball moving. So I think this is one of the hardest team to kind of judge. That's why I put hold, but I'm kind of with you on the stock down just because what they fixed, the injuries and what they fixed wasn't really a fix they needed to fix, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just feels like you could still be in the same range if everything goes well.
Yeah.
And you're already off to a rough start. Jaren Jackson had to have surgery, and it's like 3 months, and he's a big guy, so I doubt you want to rush him back off a toe surgery. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay, Mavs. The Mavericks, 10th seed last year. They were 39-43. They extended Exum and Kyrie. They added D'Angelo Russell, and they lost Dinwiddie, and they drafted Cooper Flag. What are we thinking about them?
So as much as Dallas confuses me, I have I don't really like their plan long term. It's going to be a slight up from me.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I have too.
I think being able to move ahead of someone like Memphis or Sacramento is probably on deck. I mean, you got Cooper Flag. Hopefully they use him. Um, and if Anthony Davis can at least play a majority of the games, even if not, if you can use those games to turn it over to Cooper Flag a little bit. So I think they have a little bit of a fallback in case things go a little bit off. And ideally, Kyrie comes back at the end of the season. But I would go slight up from here.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I have. I'd buy some stock, and mainly because of Cooper Flag. If Kyrie gets healthy, get a healthy Anthony Davis season, like 60 games. I think that team's going to be a pretty good team. I don't know if they'll be a contender, but they'll be a really good team in the sense of like they won't be in the 10th spot. They'll probably be closer to like 8, 7 spot, jumping a team like Memphis, like you said. Um, so I'm with you. I'm with you there. Okay, let's go to the Spurs. They were the 13th seed in the Western Conference. They were 34 and 48. They extended no one. They added Olenek. You mentioned that earlier, and then Cornette, and they drafted Bryant and more importantly Dylan Harper. No departures, key departures, I should say. So what are we thinking of the Spurs?
So I think this is like a good buying opportunity because
Mhm.
they would have been better last year, but but Victor sat out the last, I don't know, 20 games, whatever it was.
Fox was out for a
Um,
bit too, yeah.
yeah. So I think you have a buying opportunity that they would do better. Still don't like the mix of everything, as we've discussed, with having not a lot of shooting, and hoping that apparently your bench white guy bigs are going to bring the extra shooting. But I think a healthy Victor season, and you have nowhere to go but up. Even if he played 60 or 65 games to make the requirement for all the awards, I think you're better than this. So, and they have optionality. So I would buy going into it.
Yeah, and then I think you get a Fox for the whole offseason. And I still think there's a move that they can make. There's obviously still a move they can make with the Fox contract. They haven't extended him yet, right? So he's still 1 year, 37. So either they're going to let him just go to free agency next year or they're going to move him. I think they'll probably move him. They could extend him, I guess, but they'll probably move him to get the roster to fit a little better. But even until then, I just think, like you said, they have a lot of talent optionalities. Olenek next to Victor is not like that bad of an idea because Olenek can shoot threes, right? So there is that part of it that I can see what they want to do. And they did get Dylan Harper, which is huge for them. So I'm with you. I'd buy stock on the Spurs. Stock is going to go up.
For sure. And any move they make, certainly I think they're saving assets for if something breaks loose.
Yes, correct. Okay, Pelicans, last team in the Western Conference. They finished as the 14th team in the Western Conference. They were 21 and 61. They drafted Fears and Queen. They extended no one, added Bay, Looney, and Poole, and lost Brown, McCollum, and Olenek. What do you think?
I mean, again, another team, it's hard to sell when you're this far down.
Yeah,
I mean,
right. That's the thing. Yeah.
just barely, but I'll put sell mainly because I do not trust whatever the plan their front office has doesn't seem to make any sense. And even if you say next year's a hold and they finish the same or slightly better, you gave up your unprotected pick for next year, and that could easily be a top 4 pick. Whether they go poorly or the wheels fall off for the Bucks, you might have 2 shots at a lottery pick going somewhere. So I think for that aspect, you got to sell. thinking of losing that pick next year, which the top 3 or 4 seem like really good prospects, and you're basically punting on that for Derek Queen. And I just don't trust what they're going to do with their young guys or Zion, or if they have a plan besides if something shows up, they take a call and maybe do it, and then change their mind 2 minutes later if a different call comes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm selling. This is one team that I think I don't see it with them. There's good pieces, but they don't make sense together. And then like the Zion thing is still really weird. We don't know what's going on. And the organization is just weird. I don't know. Just a weird organization. I just don't trust anything about it. I don't know how you look and see how the Pistons were ran like 5 years ago until last year, and you're like, man, we really need to hire the guy that inspired that type of success, right? Like Weaver was just not the guy, and they brought him in, and the first thing him and Joe Dumars like, hey, let's trade our pick unprotected next year for a guy that isn't like a generational talent. Let's just do that. And it's like, I don't know about that. So I'm with you. I'm selling stock. I just don't. Jordan Poole. Like, I mean, what are we doing? I don't know. Maybe they see something we don't, but I'm selling stock on the Pelicans, no matter how cheap it is.
Yeah, if they hand you the prospectus to look at investing, like the first page would just be that article where the Hawks had to call like 2 or 3 different guys to figure out if the trade offer was real. I was like, yeah, maybe that's not the company I want to invest in at this time. So it just makes no sense that, the team you're trying to trade with is like, is this a real deal? Do we need to call someone else? And then they're like, hey, Joe, is this legit? Okay, then yes, let's do it. That doesn't instill confidence that whatever else they decide to do, unless maybe, you want to send, Trey Murphy to Milwaukee for Kyle Kuzma, and, whatever, we're open for business if you're looking to dump some guys, Joe.
And give you an unprotected future pick.
Yeah. Hey, you want to send us Herb Jones, whatever. But just, with that being said, again, like you said, I do like a lot of the players on this team. I just don't trust that it'll fit and that they have a plan to make it better.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. This is a kind of stock that like you give away with a Big Mac and somebody will take it because they want the Big Mac. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to stop. Okay, anything else, man, for Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.